Chapter 68. Polished Words. Maharaj, all these words, all these concepts are compromising you. All these illusionary thoughts are related to the body only. The Master is inviting attention of the silent and visible listener. You are ultimate truth. You are unborn. But because of the impressions of the body knowledge, the food body knowledge, the material knowledge, we are ignoring reality. Mind is nothing but the flow of thoughts. You are witnessing that flow of thoughts. You are witnessing the dream. This is a long dream. It is just like a long dream. You are wasting every day with so many dreams, different types of dreams. The seer is the same. The atmosphere of each dream is different. This is today's dream, and tomorrow a different dream. You are not to give any importance to what is happening in this dream. This is the conviction you are to hold. This is ultimate truth. It is the final truth because you are unborn. All that you can see is illusion. Without the seer, you cannot see anything. Without your presence, no one can say anything about Brahman, Atman, God, Master. Your presence is behind everything. It is spontaneous presence, invisible presence, anonymous presence. Questioner, you are saying behind the presence? Maharaj, don't take the words literally. There is no behind and no in front. These are words. I am just using these words to communicate, to try and put the knowledge into words. Listen to these teachings. My words are very important. Spontaneous presence, invisible presence, anonymous presence. There is no name for this. For this there is no name. It cannot be defined, described. Without this nameless power, we cannot see. It is the spontaneous, unidentified identity. Your presence is unidentified identity. This presence has high value. It is invaluable. Don't underestimate yourself. All godly saints, masterly saints, are secondary to you. They can only appear after you. Your presence comes first. To say something, anything, your presence is essential. For example, He is my Father. To say He is my Father, your presence is required. This is God. To say God, your presence is required. The entire world comes out of your presence alone. Without your presence, who can say the world is true or false? Who can say anything? Your presence is invisible. It's everywhere. It cannot be defined by any words. Words are merely communicators of knowledge. We are the inventors of the words. And now we have allowed them to compromise us. Questioner, I think that for most people, words and language have become our masters. We have allowed all these millions of words to control, confuse and compromise us. We get caught up in the words instead of the truth. Or we think the words are the same as the truth. Maharaj, because we are in body form. All these words, Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, are okay at a certain level as indicators, but after this They are completely meaningless. People go here and there, finding different masters, reading more spiritual books. And at the same time, what they are really doing is adding more and more ego. You talk about Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, but you only know these as names, as words. You do not know what they mean. I am not talking about the knowledge of Brahman, Atman, Paramatman. I am talking about your knowledge. You're the architect of your own life, your spiritual life. It is up to you how to mould your spiritual life. I am trying to simplify this reality using simple words without any complexities. All your questions are appearing out of your body knowledge. I am somebody. I am a master. I am a knowledgeable person. These are egoistic thoughts. You are nothing. Everything comes out of nothing and dissolves back into nothing. What do you say? Questioner: Yes, absolutely. And the way you communicate the teachings is so simple. No frills, no messing. Maharaj: You have to be strong because there are so many concepts and words out there to confuse you. We get lost in them. Birth, rebirth and future, past life, future life, salvation, hell and heaven, so many words, Mumbai, California, etc. What do you mean by salvation? What do you mean by hell and heaven? Innumerable words have been created, and then we try and find their meanings through even more words. Whatever knowledge you acquire will disappear along with the body. Ask a simple question. Will all this knowledge be useful to you at the time of leaving your body? If there is some subtle fear remaining, then what is the use of this knowledge, all this polished knowledge? It means you have been collecting colourful currency that has turned out to be unmarketable. You have accumulated a bundle of dollars or pound notes, but they are fake notes. You cannot use them. So you may have a lot of knowledge about spirituality, Brahman, Atman, God, and you can even talk about these and deliver lectures eloquently. But make sure the knowledge is real and practical. Otherwise, it is meaningless. You may know this story about Albert Einstein, the famous scientist. He used to tour and give lectures at various universities in the States. He was always accompanied by his chauffeur Harry, who would attend each of these lectures and sit at the back of the hall. One day, after Einstein had finished giving his lecture, Harry said, "Professor, I've heard your lectures so many times, I am certain I could deliver one perfectly myself." "Very well," replied Einstein. "Next week we are going to Dartmouth. They don't know me there, so you can deliver the lecture and I will be Harry." So Harry delivered the lecture perfectly, without a word out of place, while Einstein sat in the back row dressed in his chauffeur's uniform, dozing off. Just as Harry was about to leave the stage, one research assistant stopped him and asked him a very tricky question, one that involved a lot of complex calculations and equations. Harry replied quickly, "Oh, that's easy. It's so simple that I'll let my chauffeur Harry answer it." This story is used here to illustrate that anyone can quote from books and masters parrot fashion, but they cannot answer questions unless they themselves have self-knowledge. Be a master of reality and not just a master of philosophy and spirituality. A professor may teach by talking about truth, whereas a master lives it. Nisargadatta Maharaj once told a visitor, a doctor of philosophy, who was asking many questions, just negate what you have read and listen. Subtract everything you have ever read since childhood and then just listen. If you want to know nothing, all these spiritual books are available. We are talking about the unborn child. Nothing happened. Nothing is happening. Questioner: Maharaj, we must have hundreds of books in the loft space at home. They are all on spiritual matters. We put them up there a few years ago because we were finished with books. These books insulate and keep the house warm in winter. You were saying that when you die, all these books will be of no help. You could have all these books beside you when you're on your deathbed, but they're not going to help, are they, even if you read them all? Maharaj, you have to mould yourself in the light of all this spirituality. Again, I am repeating the same thing. Meditation is the base. I cannot stress the importance of meditation enough. Considering the sensitivity of the spirit, the meditation impresses reality on spirit. You are Brahman. You are Brahman. Reciting the mantra is very effective. I will give you an example. When police officers are trying to catch a criminal, in the beginning he might say, I haven't done anything. But then, after a little pressure and maybe some torture, he gives in and admits to his crime. Oh, okay, I will tell you everything. I confess. Similarly, in the beginning, it feels like you are torturing yourself with, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. There is a threat to your existence. The ego rises, it reacts and revolts. But then it surrenders, and there is acceptance. Yes, I am Brahman, and all the secrets open up to you. You're to use this antivirus software all the time, so that no virus will dare to enter your laptop. So do your practice and forget about the past. There is no past, no present, no future. There is no good, no bad. Things we find tolerable, we call good things. Things we find intolerable, we call bad things. What is not tolerable is I am. I am is intolerable. For this, to cope with this, presence requires entertainment. When the child has taken birth, we give it some honey, sweet things like that. We cannot bear beingness. We cannot stand it without entertainment. What kind of entertainment did you have prior to beingness? There was nothing. Now it is a different story. We want food, this thing, that thing, so many things. Take a bath every day, brush the teeth. Prior to beingness, nothing had to be done. No teeth were there to brush, no soap was required, no sweets were required, no food was required, no requirements were there. We did not know God, Brahman, Paramatman, Atman. This knowledge is very, very simple, but it has been made complicated by endless books. Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say, the gist of it all is that you are ultimate truth. You are final truth. Talking about books, he used to say, read books, but don't let them drown you. Read them, but don't drown yourself in them. Whilst reading these spiritual books, you must know that it is the invisible reader's story. The invisible reader's story. There is no duality, no individuality. No duality, no individuality. Go deeper and deeper within, and you will see and find exceptional happiness. Then you will exclaim, "Oh, I was a fool. All that I was doing was using a system of beliefs." If you glance at your past, you will see that it was foolish knowledge, and that what you were doing was completely silly. When you know as a grown-up and you think back to the things you did as a child, you feel silly. It is like this. Now you are a grown-up. You know yourself.